Dictator traits. Yeah, oh, I know, Trump's a dictator. Oh, actually, PBS, which, with all due respect, I wouldn't mind, wouldn't care, quite frankly. Wouldn't care if Doge shut down PBS. I wouldn't care if they shut down National Public Radio, do away with that whole thing because they're full of crap. Oh, you had mainstream media outlets as well. Elon Musk gave a Nazi salute. Right. Sure he did. Again, you believe any of this stuff? Honestly, again, you shouldn't be allowed to vote, quite frankly, because you're that dumb. Anyway, you know what dictators normally do? I was like, so what are traits of dictators? Yeah, a lot of dictators, when they come into power, they restore free speech and they halt the weaponization of government on day one. Because lots of dictators do that. Right. Pol Pot. Yes, Stalin. Hitler. Oh, yeah. They love free speech and all that stuff. Oh, come on. People, give me a break. I actually got to give you an actual headline. This is from the Harvard Political Review. I'm at the point in time, as I said, you know, if you're from one of these Ivy League schools, don't even bother. Don't even send me your resume. I'm not even interested. I'm worried. Okay, that you got to be quarantined because you got that bloody woke mind virus. Anyway, this is from the Harvard Political Review. Trump's rhetoric echoes Hitler. Yeah, here we go with Hitler again. So I was thinking about it. I said, I'm going to bring one blast from the past. Nothing changes. Nothing changes when it comes to these people on the left. They're liars. They don't really have anything. They don't have anything. And I guess their appeal for a while was just reaching out to young people with, the young skulls, as Rush Limbaugh, he's called skulls full of mush. And it would be easy to sway them or push them in a certain direction when they really don't know much. I'm going to go back in time. We're going to go back to 2005. I did a column making fun of the rhetoric at the time. And do you remember Howard Dean? Remember Howard Dean? Yeah, it was the governor. It was a governor of Vermont, right? And they ran for the presidency, and he did that crazy yell, and then he lost. But anyway, here's my message. Well, I'm interpreting a message from Howard Dean. Dear comrades, I'm writing this letter to not only rally the faithful, but to educate the masses on how we can bring home victory. And of course, try to do it not in the midterms, but in 2008. I said, I think the principal reason for our losses has to do with our collective ability to argue points. You see, I argue very well. Ask any of my remaining friends. I like to think of myself as the Socrates of the Democratic Party. I can win an argument on any topic against any opponent. Interviewers and evil conservatives know this and steer where they get way away from me, steer clear from me at parties and are afraid to have me on their talk shows. More often than not, as a sign of their great respect. They do not even invite me. To all the faithful, hear me loud and clear. You too can win arguments. Simply follow these patent pending Howard Dean's rules for winning arguments and crushing your opponent. Now, for you young people out there, you could take away Howard Dean. You can insert leftist. Or insert leftist or insert someone from the mainstream media. Rule number one, Howard Dean's rules or leftist rules for winning arguments and crushing your opponent. Drink liquor. Yep, you're at a party and some stuffy church-going, designated driver type, some conservatives expounding the greatness of the American economy and capitalism, a subject you know nothing about. If you're drinking some mocktail, you're going to hang back. You're going to be afraid to display your ignorance. Now, you're going to do is you got to drink a few shots of Jack Daniels. Suddenly, you're going to discover that you have very strong views about whether it be capitalism, whether it be about Donald Trump, whether it be about the new Green Deal, whatever it may be, all about You're going to expound the necessity of greater, bigger government, more involvement in our lives, censorship. You know it. Universal health care. You're going to be a wealth of propaganda. Just keep drinking. Yep. You're going to offer searing insights. And guess what? You might even spill something, upsetting the furniture. People are going to be impressed. Some may leave the room. Number 2, this is a big one. Make things up. I got a sub-reference here a little bit. There was an episode of The Simpsons where they brought Michael Moore on the program. I think Lisa Simpson was upset about journalism, and I think Homer won the Pulitzer Prize or something like that. He started some sort of internet blog back in the day, and Michael Moore comes on the program and just espouses some ridiculous, nonsensical statistic or fact. And Lisa goes, "Where do you get your information from?" And Michael Moore goes, "Your mother." Anyway, yeah, make things up. You're trying to make an argument that our economy is just, it's in disarray and it's terrible. And, capitalism is awful. We have to get away from this. We need more involvement, bigger government out there. You have to basically, just come up with exact numbers. Don't say, I think the unemployment rate is wrong. You say the average American salary in 1981 dollars adjusted for the revised tax base is $1,452 per annum, which is $836 before the mean gross poverty level, which in turn puts unemployment numbers at 80% due to Donald Trump. Always make up exact figures. This is a key. Okay. This is what leftists do. Okay. Again, if an opponent asks you where you got your information, make that up too. This information comes from Paul Krugman and George Storos's commission that was, published, and the Jedi Knights were involved with this. Didn't you read it? Again, make up exact figures. Doesn't make any difference. Again, mainstream media, they're never going to call you out on any of that stuff. Rule number 3 is use meaningless but weighty sounding words and phrases. Okay, like this. Let me put it this way. In terms of vis-a-vis, per se, as it were, so to speak. Again, you got to memorize some Latin abbreviations. Again, this is short for I speak Latin and you don't. Here's how to use some of these words and phrases. Suppose you want to say, Americans would like to order appetizers more often, but they don't have enough money. You never win arguments like that, but you will win if you say, let me put it this way. In terms of appetizers, vis-a-vis Americans, qua Americans, they would like to order more often, so to speak, but they don't have enough money per se, as it were. Again, it's word salad. Kamala Harris does this all the time without the Latin. Anyway, rule number 4, use snappy and irrelevant comebacks. Now, you're going to need an arsenal of all-purpose irrelevant phrases to fire back at your opponents when they make valid points. The best are, you're begging the question. You're being defensive. Don't compare apples to oranges. What are your parameters? Here's how to use your comebacks, okay? You say, being liberal, you make something up. As Abraham Lincoln said in 1873, the person with a few brain cells that can rub together comes back at you and says, well, Lincoln died in 1865. You say, you're begging the question. Or you say, Liberians, like most Asians, your opponent says, Liberia is in Africa. You say, you're being defensive. Rule number 5, and they're using this one a lot. Here's the big guns. Again, compare your opponent to Hitler. Heavy artillery. Hitler, racist, whatever it may be. When your opponent says something that is obviously right and you are spectacularly wrong, bring Hitler up subtly. Say, that sounds suspiciously like something Adolf Hitler might say. Or, you certainly remind me of Adolf Hitler. There you go, leftists. That's how they do it. That's it. Again, it's been working for some time. I don't think it's working as much anymore. I don't. Have you seen the numbers at these left-wing networks at this point in time? Nobody's watching. WatchDog on WallStreet.com.